What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my Week 12 Upset Alert video. In this video, I will pick 10 games that are most likely to be upsets. And for them to be on Upset Alert, they have to be 5-point favorites or higher. And if you guys have enjoyed my content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also leave your upset predictions in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into this. For my 10th game on Upset Alert, I got number 1 Georgia at number 18 Tennessee. Does anybody actually believe Tennessee will beat Georgia? Probably not. But I feel like I have to add this to Upset Alert because Tennessee is still a top 25 team. And they do have this game at home. And this game is a huge game for Tennessee as it is their last home game on the season. That actually matters. They do play Vanderbilt next week, but that will be a very underwhelming last home game. Georgia's played a couple tougher opponents the last couple of weeks, but that didn't really look like the case for Ole Miss, as they did handle Ole Miss pretty well last week. But Georgia has showed weakness on their run defense, and maybe Tennessee runs the ball well and stays in the game. But I've said it in previous videos, I do think Georgia is the best team in college football right now. And it's going to be very hard to beat this team. Very unlikely, but not impossible for Tennessee to pull off the upset, as they have had success running the ball. But I just don't see an upset here because Tennessee has showed a lot more weaknesses than Georgia, and it's not even close. For my 9th game on Upset Alert, I got number 21 Kansas State at number 25 Kansas. This is only the first of 4 Big 12 games that I have on my Week 12 Upset Alert. I do have this game higher because I do think Kansas State is a really good football team, and they are better than Kansas. But honestly, anything could happen in this game. Kansas has struggled with quarterback injuries this year, and Kansas State has a pretty good defense this year also. And they almost beat Texas and Missouri, 2 teams that are ranked in the top 10. Kansas State is really high in analytics this year too. Kansas State has been a pretty good team this year, but this is a rivalry game and Kansas does have this game at home. And Kansas isn't a bad team either, but that loss to Texas Tech might have killed their momentum. But we'll have to wait and see. This is definitely a game with Big 12 title implications and should definitely be on Upset Alert as it is a big rivalry game. For my 8th game on Upset Alert, I got number 14 Oklahoma at BYU. Oklahoma is huge favorites in this game, maybe a little too high, but it does make sense because BYU has been pretty bad this year. But it's going to be a tough road game for Oklahoma as they have to head to Utah and play in colder weather. I know that BYU has been bad recently and has some blowout losses in the Big 12, but if BYU plays a great game and Oklahoma doesn't, BYU could compete in this game. It's not going to be an easy road game for Oklahoma. BYU has played some good games this year, but ultimately they've been pretty bad this year, so I don't see Oklahoma losing this game because they're still a very talented team and they are completely better than BYU on paper. And Oklahoma's still fighting for a Big 12 championship game spot. But I feel like I needed to add this game because of the conditions, and it is an away game. It will be interesting to see how this game plays out though. And for my 7th game on Upset Alert, I got Appalachian State at James Madison. This game has to be on Upset Alert. App State may have 4 losses, but every one of those games were 1-possession games, including a 6-point loss against North Carolina. James Madison is 10-0 and might be due for a loss, but whether you want to or not, you have to give props to this James Madison team for coming up from the FCS and being 10-0 as of now. And ultimately, they aren't really fighting for anything else after the regular season because they can't even play in a bowl game or even play in a conference title because they aren't eligible, because that's just how the rules are in college football apparently. But James Madison has been a pretty solid defensive team, and this should be a lower scoring battle. It should be a great game. For my 6th game on Upset Alert, I got SMU at Memphis. I personally think SMU is a really solid team, and they are good in analytics. They have been undefeated in conference play this year, and their only 2 losses come to a ranked Oklahoma and also a loss to TCU. But the last 6 games, SMU has been rolling. They have been dominating just about every team they have played, and they've been handling their games a lot better than Tulane has been. But SMU does have a tough test against Memphis this week, and Memphis is 8-2 and fighting for a spot in the American Championship game. Memphis only has 1 loss in the conference right now. At the start of the year, it was looking like the Mountain West was better than the American Conference, but the American Conference actually looks better as of now, and they have 4 teams with 7 or more wins on the season, and they do have 3 teams undefeated in their conference. But let's get back to this game, and I gotta say, I really like this SMU team. They might be the best group of 5 team, but Memphis has this game at home, and Memphis also has a solid offense. They've scored 44 plus points in their last 4 games. But SMU has had a good offense along with a decent defense, which Memphis does not have, so it should be an interesting game. And for my 5th game on Upset Alert, I got Tulane at FAU. I mean, Tulane should be on Upset Alert no matter who they're playing. Their last 4 games have all been 1-possession games, even against weaker opponents. But Tulane is still 9-1 and ranked, But I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Tulane is as good as they were last year. And when they run into SMU, they will probably lose. But if they somehow beat SMU in the American Championship game, then they will probably be in a New Year's Six Bowl. But they will probably get destroyed in that New Year's Six Bowl, because Tulane has showed a lot of weaknesses this year. FAU can put points on the board, so they should be able to keep this game close. They have scored 38 or more points this year 4 times. But they also did just lose to East Carolina 22-7, so I wouldn't say their offense is super great. But they might be able to score and keep it close against Tulane. Definitely because Tulane can't cover a spread lately. And for my 4th game on Upset Alert, I got number 7 Texas at Iowa State. I think Iowa State is better than a lot of people think. I don't think they're a great team, but they are a solid team. I have to put Texas at least on Upset Alert because this is Iowa State's last home game. And also, Iowa State is 5-2 in the Big 12 and still alive in the Big 12 championship race. So this is going to be a pretty big game because if Iowa State beats Texas, they'll be ahead of Texas in the Big 12. Iowa State only has 4 losses on the year and 3 of them come by 7 points. They have also shown improvement throughout the year too. Quinn Ewers will have to play a good game and limit turnovers. And Texas should be a little bit worried because Iowa State has had 15 interceptions on the year. And Quinn Ewers is coming off of an injury. Quinn Ewers will have to be spot on in this game. This is Texas' last road game, and they really need to win this. And for my 3rd game on Upset Alert, I got number 23 Oklahoma State at Houston. If this was last week, I might not have put Oklahoma State on Upset Alert. But after that loss to UCF, which they lost 45-3, I don't know what to expect from this Oklahoma State team. Houston has shown that they can compete in the Big 12 a little bit, as they did battle at home against Texas a few weeks back. I wouldn't say Houston is a good team by any means, but a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the Big 12, with Oklahoma taking back-to-back losses and the random blowout wins that were not expected. The Big 12 has been up and down for all the teams in the conference, so I definitely have to add Oklahoma State on Upset Alert this week. It will be interesting to see how Oklahoma State does respond from that horrific loss last week, as they are still in the race for the Big 12 championship game. And for my number 2 game on Upset Alert, a ranked team that is 6.5-point underdogs. Number 20, North Carolina at Clemson. Clemson is actually pretty big favorites in this game, and I'm not surprised they are favorited, but it might be a little high of a spread, definitely since North Carolina is ranked. So Clemson is definitely on Upset Alert because North Carolina isn't a bad team. North Carolina also has a pretty solid offense led by one of the better quarterbacks in college football, Drake May, but Clemson also has had a pretty talented team. Even if they didn't live up to the hype of being a playoff contender, let alone they aren't even in the ACC title picture anymore. But North Carolina is still in the title picture. North Carolina might have more to fight for in this game than Clemson, as they are still in the ACC title picture, but Clemson has been on a roll the last couple of weeks. It's going to be an interesting matchup between North Carolina's offense and Clemson's physical defense. But either way, it should be a pretty good game, and these teams have had pretty intense games in the past matchups. And on my last game on my Upset Alert, this one's pretty obvious. UCLA at USC. I think this one is an obvious choice for number 1 Upset Alert pick. USC has been very down this year. UCLA has had a solid defense but an average offense, while USC has had a bad defense and a pretty good offense. This game should definitely be on Upset Alert for USC. And I can see this game going both ways depending on how Caleb Williams plays against the defense of UCLA. And it's become a pattern this year. Every time USC has met a decent defense, they have crumbled. And USC's defense will not keep them in the game. UCLA is coming off an embarrassing loss to a pretty mid-Arizona State team though, losing 17-7 in a low-scoring battle. So it will be interesting to see 2 teams who have struggled in recent weeks play against each other. But USC has to be on Upset Alert in this game. But anyways, that's going to do it for the video. If you have enjoyed my content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also leave a like. And also leave some predictions in the comments below. I will answer all of you guys' comments. And peace out, guys.